All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today I am back with another video here. This is the first game recap video of 2023-24. I know I am in a different spot. Kind of been dealing with some things at the studio, so not in there for this video. I will be back very shortly. Don't want to, for people to get confused or anything like that. I will be back in the studio very shortly. The rookie games. Not great. Obviously, last night I was going to do a video, and normally what I do is videos for each game. And I had a couple of technical difficulties last night, considering all of my equipment was at the studio, trying to get it back to my house, all that type of stuff. By the time that the video was, basically trying to export onto my computer as the full video with the graphics, the music, everything, it was taking over 3 hours to export, and I had to get up at 5:30 for work. So I said, I'm just going to kind of scratch this instead of just putting out content to just put out content. I would rather just make a better video, higher quality, talk about the actual games, and just do both at one time. So that's what we're doing. Briefly, we'll talk about last night, and then we'll kind of get into tonight. I don't really have a lot on the specific games, the normal play-by-play stuff that I normally do, because it's a little different. Like, I look at these games more in the sense of player, not in the sense of team, right? Because these guys really are only a team for these really two games, unless, they're former teammates in either the Phantoms or, they've played together before, whatever. Little things like that. And I think the biggest thing out of this one was just trying to find who played well, who didn't. I'll kind of, go through the roster a little bit as we kind of, break all of this down. But essentially, as you look at these couple of games for the Flyers, which were rough, not really the best weekend overall as a team. When you look at the team and you look at essentially how kind of everything went, it just wasn't. It just wasn't there. I don't know why. There were just a lot of different things that kind of went wrong in these couple of games. I think the biggest thing for me was just the way that, the game started on Friday. Flyers just could not get into the zone. And anytime they tried, it felt like it was harder. It was just, everything was sloppy. No pass was tape to tape. It was either in the skates, a little too much on the toe, in the heel too much. Even on the power play, you couldn't really get Forrester to maybe set up at least one time. Forrester had the grade A chance in the first period off the pass down low, when Ginning kind of crept into the high slot, passed it down low, fed him for the one-timer, and he ended up getting stoned by Garand. That was the best chance Forrester had all weekend, and outside of that, he was pretty much invisible for the next 5 periods. I really didn't see a lot of Tyson Forrester. I really didn't see a lot of Elliot Dinoyer. I didn't see a lot of Bobby Brink. Every single time those guys were in the offensive zone, they had a Ranger near them, fighting through a body, fighting through a stick, trying to get to the puck. It was just like every little inch of ice, crept down to this. The Flyers had to fight for it, and they couldn't do anything. And that was part of the problem, was as the game was kind of going on, as the periods were going on, it was like nothing was changing. The Flyers, they had some success early in the first period in tonight's game, at least of dumping it in, and kind of getting in on the forecheck. But even on the power play, they just felt sloppy throughout the entire weekend. So, last night's game, they lose 4-2. I thought Maher looked really good in net. He had a lot of, pretty good saves early that kind of kept the Flyers in, and some couple of power plays. I felt like as the game was kind of going on, the Flyers were still in it, and they get the power play goal from Matt Brown, who I thought had a really good game last night. Not so good tonight. Not too many guys were really good tonight. There were a couple of changes. Some guys were scratched. The scratches that ended up playing in tonight's game were Emil Andre, Helga Grans, Sam Sedley, and Wills Molick. They all ended up playing, and outside of that, basically everybody else was the same on the offensive side of things, and really not much change besides Bjarnason coming in for Maher tonight. But outside of Friday, Brown ends up opening the scoring, and it felt like at that point it was like, okay, you get a nice, a good power play goal. It was a nice play by Denver Barkey to kind of. It was really nice because the way he did it, where normally you get the guy kind of standing at the side of the net, and instead of trying to turn and maybe put him either between his legs or try to handle the puck on his forehand as a lefty with his back facing the net and then try to turn and kind of tuck it, he just opened the blade up and tipped it. And it was a really smart play because it ended up hitting Garan in the chest. Slam dunk for Brown. It was 1-0. Rangers would get 2. One was off of like a, Brian Elliott Stadium Series puck all the way up in the air. Doesn't know where it is, off of his back type of goal. The next one ended up, it was a turnover off of a bad clear from Fleury. High in the slot, ends up going in. And the Flyers would tie the game. Really nice play. Ziernik in the slot, slam dunk on a backhand pass behind the net from Jacob Gaucher. Really nice play overall. And then the Rangers would end up getting 2 more. Korczak and then the empty netter off of Brink's glove. Korczak goal was literally wide open in the slot. I mean, wide open as could be, and nothing Maher really could do there. So they end up losing that one 4-2. And it just felt weird, man. Like they couldn't really get into the game. Like it was just everything. They just had to fight for everything, and it just kept going that way throughout the weekend. Like they had to fight for every inch of space, doing all of the little things. Some guys I thought looked good. As I mentioned in net, Bjarnason. I mentioned Nolan Maher. He looked good, I thought, for the most part. Bjarnason, shaky start. The first goal in tonight's game was a little off, to be honest. It ended up being a wraparound chance that he couldn't really, I guess, see. It was kind of like behind the net, stuck. He didn't really know where it was, and then ended up just kind of tucking it in on him. Ended up going 5-hole. Unfortunately, it was kind of a weird goal. The second one, a lot of bodies in front. Mateo Mann kind of got pushed back as the Rangers were coming. The Flyers kind of just sat back and just kind of let them shoot, and ended up picking a corner on Bjarnason. He settled in after that. The third goal, it was a brutal turnover by Sedley at the point. Backhand 5-hole. Not much you can do there, especially in the last couple of seconds. I thought the Flyers should have pulled the goalie, but anyway. Either they because it was weird, like a skater came on the ice. It was 4-on-4. I don't know if the penalties ended or if a skater came on the ice and the Flyers ended up getting a guy, but Bjarnason never went off. So I don't know if that was like a miss too many men call, or the Flyers, like Bjarnason just didn't read it and didn't go to the bench, or what. I have no idea how that worked, but it didn't matter because the Rangers ended up scoring back in 5-hole on a breakaway, and that was all she wrote for tonight. But as of tonight's game, the best player on the ice in tonight's game, in my opinion, was Helge Grans. Really, really good skating, good passer. I honestly had a handful of notes on him in this game, and I think the biggest thing with Grans was just the way that he was able to kind of decipher when to go and when not to go. Like there were plays when he could kind of jump into the offense a little bit and maybe take a couple strides and try to get a shot on net, or maybe peel back a little bit and try to find something else. Looked pretty good quarterback in the power play. Blocked a few shots, had a couple really bullet of one-timers. He definitely has a shot on him. Good skater, like I mentioned, good passer. He had a really good game tonight. Really good game. Couple nice defensive plays, couple big hits as well. Like really, really good game. I would have liked to have seen him in both games, but he only played tonight, and he looked good. I mean, he's one of those guys that kind of figure it out a little bit. Confidence issue, we've kind of seen that. And it definitely looked like he had some confidence tonight. He looked good. I thought Emil Andre was good. Again, like the top guys, Brink, Forrester, Dinoye, didn't really notice him that much. I thought Samu Tuamala looked good for the most part. He had some good shifts. He had a couple nice hits. I love how Tuamala has a little bit of like bite in him. Like he can bang. Zadie Wisdom, I think, deserves some credit too. Because when I looked at Wisdom, I'm looking at the lines and okay. Fourth line, I'm like, all right, let's see how he does. He did really good. I mean, he scores in tonight's game. Really nice play on a nice rush. Nice, entry into the zone on the power play. They finally got something to break through on that partial 5-on-3 in this game. And Wisdom, he fights Rempe, or Remp last night. Excuse me, I might be butchering the pronunciation on that. He ends up fighting him last night. They kind of went at each other a little bit tonight as well. And it was just the way that Wisdom handled himself. Like, he didn't, like, pout about it. Like, he could have been one of those guys where, like, you know, he definitely could have been playing higher in the lineup. I wasn't a huge fan of how the Lions kind of were, where he was that low in the lineup, because I think he has more skill than playing on the fourth line in a rookie. I know it's a rookie game, but I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit of a different lineup, especially when you have 2 games. You know, when you at least could have put Wisdom at some part higher. I would have liked to have seen that, but I digress. Part of what I liked about Wisdom was just the fact that he just had balls. Like, he went out there, like, he fought this huge 6'8" guy on the Rangers in Remp. It's just a really, again, a solid ballsy fight. Ends up doing that. He actually blocked a really heavy shot last night as well, and definitely stung him. And he didn't want to go back to the room after that fight either, and they ended up making him go. And the best part about it was I saw Lappy kind of give him a fist bump after. That was really cool. But just like the way that he handled that, you know, and he scores in this game. I thought it was a good weekend for Wisdom, because he's a guy that had struggled a bit, obviously, conditioning and all that stuff. You know, I think that there's been things with him that kind of you've seen in his game, and they've kind of dipped, and sometimes they come back. It's hard to tell because he's still really young, and he's, again, playing in different spots last year, mostly with Reading, so he obviously has a little bit of work to kind of turn this thing around, but I thought he looked good. But again, you know, this is where I would have liked to have seen some of the younger guys, or excuse me, the more known guys make an impact, and that was the one thing that was missing out of this weekend. Only 3 goals for the whole thing. You know, as for Matt Brown, I thought he looked good in the first game, like I mentioned, camp invite out of BU. You know, Grons. Oliver Bonk, I thought, had some decent moments last night, kind of getting out of the zone. I didn't really notice much offensively because the Flyers really struggled to do a lot offensively, to be honest with you. But just as the game was kind of going on, it seemed like Bonk kind of settled into his zone. He made a couple nice outlet passes. He ended up finding Brink at one point. And there were a couple of them where, again, the Flyers were struggling so much to pass that the ones that were good, you noticed a lot. And, you know, I think for Bonk, he had a solid game, you know, for what it was. But that's the thing, you know, a lot of this is, you know, like I mentioned, a glorified preseason game. There's a lot of little things to kind of keep in mind with it. And for these guys, you know, it's kind of just like some guys, you're trying to make at least some sort of a little bit of an impression to maybe get another invite or work for a contract for invites and stuff like that too. So a lot of little things that kind of go in with this. But yeah, unfortunately, the Flyers do lose both of these games, but it was a lot of fun. This is the first couple of hockey games that I've covered for Maher Media, since the ones that we've covered for the website. And it's been fun doing that, and with the website and having a bunch of different people that we've kind of met at the games and stuff. And it's been a lot of fun so far. So thank you all for the support. Again, follow along with us at Maher Media Co. on all, you know, social media and stuff like that. Most likely Twitter is where we're doing a lot of our coverage, but check us out everywhere. Yeah, thanks everybody again for all the support. Remember, the Flyers, they do have a day off tomorrow. They did announce that, so no practice Sunday, back Monday and Tuesday as well. So stay tuned for all of our coverage at Maher Media. Thanks everybody again for all the support. My name is Chris, and I'll talk to you all again soon.